All right, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the AjaxCast. Today, got Kelvin with me, and hey, we're on upset alert. A few days ago, Bama was taken down by Tennessee. The game was pretty crazy. I'm sure most of y'all watched that, especially those of y'all that are big football fans. I know that are following us. If you didn't, we can give you a little bit of background on it. The Crimson Tide was taken down with 2 seconds left. Tennessee hit a field goal, winning 52 to 49, and they proceeded to tear down their own fucking stadium. So there's a lot of key points. A lot of people have been going over when it comes to this. Obviously, Saban was pissed. They gave up his record 17 penalties for 130 yards. So I think that says a lot about them. I think it says a lot about Alabama. Maybe not as dominant as a powerhouse that they've been the past, I don't know, 10, 15 years. But yeah, is there anything big you want to say about the game starting off?
I think the most surprising thing is probably Alabama's penalties. Like that did not look like a Nick Saban coach team to me at all. Like
Yeah.
17 penalties, absolutely ridiculous. Like if you want to win football games, 17 penalties is the wrong way. Like if you want to be a winning team, you probably average around 5 to 6 penalties, maybe for 30,
Mm-hmm.
35 yards, but 17 penalties, that is a
17.
game changer.
To back that up, they had a ton against Texas. They had a ton against Texas A&M.
Yeah.
They're not doing themselves any favors. I've seen discipline. I know this may just be me. Discipline for Alabama's kind of gone down the past few years, as well
Mm,
as I think their coaching has gone down. So
yeah.
let me ask you this: who do you think is the best player in college football?
To me, when everything is going right, is Will Anderson. Like he is unstoppable. You can't. I mean, he will destroy any left tackle you have out there on the field.
Not the 19-year-old
But
from Texas. That tackle
yeah,
dogged him
that's
all
true.
game.
That's true. But I mean, right now, to me, it is either Hendon Hooker or CJ Stroud. Like those
Mhm.
guys are just on another planet right now.
See, I would say that too, because both those guys are super impressive. 2 points I want to make here. Will Anderson has all the talent in the world, but to me, he's playing very undisciplined. We saw that against Texas. That was a freshman that was one on one against him the whole game. I think he only had 2 or 3 tackles against Tennessee, offensive line is great. Like, don't get me wrong, they weren't pulling every single play, and he only made one solo tackle the whole game. If you're supposed to be one of the best players in the country and you have all this talent, especially what he did against Georgia both times last year, as dominant as he looked, for him to come out this season and look really flat, play with very low energy, make all these mental mistakes, I think that's something that may either come down to him being all in his head, reading too many headlines, or even something that's on the coaching side. Um, but going back to the best player in college football, I think if you don't say Jameer Gibbs, it's completely wrong. Every single time that dude touches the ball, he makes something happen. Like, I have not seen someone this explosive in a long fucking time. And
Yeah.
also, he'll go in there and he'll fucking block. He'll put your ass on the ground. So, I don't
That
know.
just makes you think what was Jeff Collins doing at Georgia Tech?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then why the hell was Bill O'Brien not running the damn ball the whole game? I know fucking Bryce Young was lighting it up, but like Bryce Young would make these huge plays, like they'd go 57-yard pass and then they'd score. And their defense gets a 42-second break and they come back out on the field to a lightning Tennessee offense who's just been on fire. You're giving Hendon Hooker more time with the ball. And, I think Alabama's defense just got tired on top of that. And then that's where more of the penalties started to kick in, because they're struggling in the secondary, as Tennessee is as well. Tennessee's dealing with a ton of injuries there. But I think just slowing the game down, running the damn ball up the middle, like you could give it to either one of your running backs. Like
Yeah.
McClellan only ran the ball 3 times, and he was averaging I think 6 yards a carry.
You can't go wrong with running the damn ball. And like Alabama doesn't have the crop of receivers like how they usually have had
Mm-hmm.
the last couple years. So last season was Jameson Williams and Mechie, and then a couple years before that, you had Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, and Jerry Judy and Calvin Ridley,
Yeah,
all on the
yeah.
same roster at one time. But now it's like you have, I mean, who's their best pass catcher is probably Jameer Gibbs, but
Mm-hmm.
he's also the running back. And I think that's really hurting their offense right now, that they don't really have that top star or those top dogs at receiver. And
Yeah.
I think Bill O'Brien needs to see that he just needs to just stick with the running game. Like they could, I think they could have blew out A&M even without
Oh
Bryce
yeah,
Young, and they
they
just would
should
have
have blew
kept
them
running
out.
the ball, and they could have ended the game on Saturday against Tennessee if they just would have
Hmm.
kept running the ball. But I mean,
Yep. And then another thing, Jameer Gibbs I think caught 3 passes for like 56 yards. Put him in the fucking slot. Well, like you saw Georgia do it when James Cook, and that did pretty well. I mean,
yeah,
Georgia, like the wide receiver talent they've had the past few years, is insane, and obviously we're both a little
mhm,
biased towards them. But when we
yeah.
needed a little bit of, I don't know, I guess an explosive boost, even what we'll do this year, we'll line up Brock Bowers out there. Like so,
You get your best players the ball in any way possible. Like
mhm.
if we had to put Brock Bowers at running back, then we put
Yeah,
Brock Bowers at running back.
yeah.
If we need Kenny McIntosh to line up at receiver, I mean, he'll do it. I mean,
Mhm.
so you just need to put your best players in the best position to win games.
Exactly. And another thing for Alabama, I think what was kind of a downfall. I mean, their defense has been sloppy. They were predicted to have one of the best defenses in the entire NCAA leading up,
Yeah.
and we've seen that they're not. It's been it's been a struggle with the star talent that they have on there. When you have someone like Toa Toa and then Will Anderson, one of the highest rated linebackers in the country, I think you should be doing way better. I mean, Toa Toa has been killing it. He's kind of like that captain of the entire defense, and he can kind of tell you what's happened. And I mean, he's not like your N'Kobe Dean that you saw for Georgia last year, where he can tell you what play they're running before the play even gets started. But he's a smart inside linebacker, and he does pretty well picking up on things. And he's fast and he's pretty big. Their struggle has really been their secondary, of course, but I mean that's a lot of college football. But their
Yeah.
outside linebackers, this including Will Anderson, have been shitting the bed. And my biggest guess to that is because they have a new outside linebacker coach. It's Coleman Hutzler. This is his first. He got hired in January this past year, and I I think he's been struggling coaching these guys up. I don't know if it's whether coming in and having to deal with 4 and 5 star guys and just this NFL level talent, or what it is. But whatever he's doing, he needs to fucking change it, or Saban needs to hop in on the outside linebacker coaching because
Mhm.
it's not good. Like your outside linebackers, yeah, if they're in a one on one, they should be licking their fucking chops, getting ready. They're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna pop the quarterback. But I mean, credit to Tennessee's O line and I guess to A&M's O line.
Yeah.
They fucking held up those outside linebackers who I think have been struggling. But another one of Alabama's weaknesses right now, other than penalties, is their special teams. And
Oh yes.
who is their special teams coach?
Is it Derek Dooley?
No, it's Coleman Hutzler, the same
Oh,
guy
he's the
who's the
same
outside
guy.
linebacker coach. So I think he's gone after this season, man. I don't think Saban puts up with this shit. Like,
Wow, I did not know that.
they do so much stupid shit. Oh my
Yeah.
god. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? It's like watching Reggie Davis from Georgia. Like, that's what their whole special teams reminds me of. Um, but yeah, that's just
Yeah.
me kind of putting on like a slight tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
And for you Alabama fans, you don't actually put on a tinfoil hat. It's a figure of speech. That's what I need to know. But
Right now I'm thinking I think teams are doing a really good job of also scheming out Dallas Turner and Will Anderson. Because like you said, we know like one on one, 95% of the time we're gonna wreck those tackles.
yeah.
But like maybe if you spread them out or get quick passes, you take them out of the game, and then like now that puts the pressure on all of your secondary. And like you said earlier, Alabama was supposed to have one of the best secondaries in the country. They returned everybody from last season, and
Hmm.
they added Eli Ricks from LSU, who really didn't play much, who hasn't really played much this season, which is kind of interesting. But like I thought Alabama would have the best defense in college football, like by far. And now it pretty much looks like if you have pretty much a decent offense, you'll be able to get 24 to 30 points on them.
Hmm.
And it looks like most of the games are going to be shootout, which we know Nick Saban is going to have a heart attack over, and that's not the way he wants to play
Yeah.
football. But if it happens, I mean, happens. So yeah, it's very interesting to see because I have this may be like one of the worst Alabama defenses in like the Nick Saban era. Might probably outside of 2007,
Yeah,
but
they're so
yeah,
top heavy. It's insane.
yeah.
And you would think that would kind of trickle down because that's what we've seen from teams in the past. I mean, you can go all the way back to Notre Dame when they had Manti Te'o, like
Mhm.
very top heavy. But I mean, the rest of their defense kind of stepped up to the plate. Same thing with Georgia when it was just Roquan his 3 years at Georgia. You had a lot of guys step up, and then you've had guys get better since then. And then Georgia's defense has obviously been elite. They're going to stay elite for a while, is what I think. Non-biased opinion, you know. But yeah, they're struggling, and yeah, I could see someone else picking up a game on Alabama if they don't fix
They
this
have a
shit.
very interesting game against Mississippi State this week.
Mm-hmm.
I know Mississippi State laid a dud against Kentucky,
Yeah, I was not happy
um,
about that.
but I think the Ole Miss game is going to be very interesting
Exactly,
also
because Ole
because
Miss actually has a good defense. For the first time,
yeah,
probably in school history, they have a good defense. Oh my
and
god.
and you would think with Lane Kiffin as their head coach, they'll be throwing the ball all over the place. They're running the ball. Like their
Hmm.
top two running backs, Quinshawn Judkins and Zach Evans, both have over like 450 yards.
Yeah, and
So
have you watched their games much?
yeah,
They've been really conservative for a Lane Kiffin team. So
yeah.
I don't know if he's not confident in Jackson Dart, if like he's just kind of like this okay figure,
I think
but
he's just going with what's working. They're like teams can't stop the run, so we're just gonna run it. Like,
or is he
I mean,
saving it for like Alabama? You know, he's gonna pull
could
all
be
this shit out, and then Jackson Dart's gonna throw for 7,000 yards on him.
because they. I mean, we know Ole Miss always has good receivers, also. So yeah, it's that game is going to be very, very interesting. I mean, that game could, you know, decide the West. I
I think
probably
it
think
will.
that game is going to decide the West. I think Alabama, even though they're coming off a loss, I think they should be Mississippi State.
Yeah,
But that game, I believe it's in Alabama this year.
I think it
I
is.
could be wrong, but I mean, we know Ole Miss is. I don't think teams are afraid to go play at Alabama anymore.
Oh yeah.
So, like that, I think they will probably want to go play at Alabama
No,
now more
it's
than play
at
them at
Ole
home.
Miss.
Oh, it's at Ole Miss. Oh man,
Oh, that's gonna be rough, dude.
yeah. So that crowd is going to be. We already know that's going to be a 3:30 p.m. SEC on CBS game.
Mhm.
Like the Grove is going to be rocking.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
That game is
Oh,
going to be very, very interesting.
yeah. Then what do you think? Okay, so let's say Alabama fixes some shit. Let's say they still struggle with outside linebackers and a little bit of
Mhm.
special teams. Does Coleman Hutzler get the boot after one season?
I think it'll be more of he'll get the boot, but it won't look like it.
Yeah,
If you get what I'm saying, he'll probably be like, "Oh, maybe he's just been
he'll take a job at
great."
Colorado State, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it'll be something like that.
Yeah,
Nick Saban's like, "You need to leave."
yeah. I think he's a good coach, but who knows? Oh
It could be a
man,
situation if the spotlight is too big.
yeah.
Like some coaches. I mean, you look at it, you're like, "How can you mess this up?" And you
Collins,
can easily mess it up. Yeah.
Collins.
So it's like, yeah, Jeff Collins is like, you're in like the most talent rich city in the country,
Yeah,
downtown Atlanta, and you have Jameer Gibbs on your team and you mess it up. You
yeah.
win 9 games in like 4 seasons. So, you
Yeah.
know,
The amount of games Collins won in all of his time at Tech was, I think, either one over or one less than what Paul Johnson won his last season at Tech. Just saying, but
and and the funny part is since they fired him, they're like on a 2-game win streak or something like that with Brent Key. Like so,
well, the players love him. The players love him.
yeah, I mean
That's the
he's
thing.
Georgia Tech through and
Yeah,
through. So, but it's still kind of crazy to like see, oh, we fired a coach, and now I think Georgia Tech is second in the coastal. I think they're in or the Atlantic. I think
yeah,
they're in the Atlantic.
yeah. Atlantic.
And in 3 weeks ago, it's like, oh man, Georgia Tech's gonna finish like 1-11,
Yeah. Oh man, I'm excited to see what happens there.
and now they're
But
like right there towards the ACC championship race.
exactly. But moving back towards Alabama versus Tennessee, both those quarterbacks were fucking insane. Oh my god, the
Hmm.
throws they were making, especially under pressure, like Bryce
Yeah.
Young, also he's an idiot for not sliding half the time and then tucking the ball way
Yeah.
too many times, dude. Because he's only 5'10". Like he can't do that shit again. Like if he does that against Ole Miss or even Mississippi State, he's gonna get broken. Like
Yeah. He took a
oh my
lot of shots this weekend.
yeah, I was like, oh my god, I was impressed by him just getting back up every single time.
Yeah.
Um, and man, do you think they get more than 17 penalties down at Ole Miss? Because dude, they get
Oh,
chippy. Ole Miss, like I know Tennessee's chippy, but I feel like Ole Miss, especially since Alabama has lost a game and they've been struggling a little, they're gonna smell the fucking blood in the water, and it's gonna be rough down there.
and we know Lane Kiffin is going to have some trick of his
Yeah,
sleeve. Like I could see Lane Kiffin being the type of coach. Like, yeah, we'll take 2 or 3 unsportsmanlike conducts if it's to try and get under Alabama's skin or something like that. Lane Kiffin is definitely that type of coach.
yeah, yeah. I could see something like him, like when Georgia scored in '08 that first touchdown, No. Sean dove over, and the whole team went out there and
Mhm.
celebrated.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if Lane Kiffin would do something like that because that game determines the West essentially.
Yeah.
Does something like
And
that, or even him celebrating. You know?
yeah, anything to get your players juiced up, because like you said, once Noson scored that touchdown and the whole team came out, like you Georgia cannot lose that game.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
players are doing everything in their might to win. Because if you lose the game and you did all that first touchdown scored, like it's embarrassing, very embarrassing.
yeah. And hey, I mean, I could just see something happening on special teams too. Like right away. Like let's say Ole Miss kicks off the ball and he fair catches it or he kneels in the end zone. I feel like someone is their ass is gonna be on the ground and it's gonna like it could get chippy from the very kickoff.
Yeah.
Yeah. That they Ole Miss could have like a Nate McBride, that they run out on
Oh
kickoff
yeah,
just to
Nick.
kill
Yeah.
somebody.
Just a kickoff warrior.
Yeah. Chaz Chambliss. They need a Chaz Chambliss.
That's
Yeah, but Tennessee, Alabama, where do you rank that game out of games you've seen
all time or just this season?
all time? I mean, this season, I think I gotta put it number one.
Oh yeah, number one.
Mm-hmm.
All time, it's definitely up there. Um, man, I've watched some good games in the
Mm-hmm.
past.
I
It
think,
it, it it really just depends on like what type of game you
yeah,
like.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
do you like the high scoring games? Do you like the low scoring games? Do you like the 31-27 type games? So I think in terms of like high scoring, like touchdown almost every drive, that type of stuff, it's like top 5, top 10
Yeah,
for me.
it's a top five for me. I mean, that Rose Bowl, Georgia, Oklahoma is always gonna be one of my
Yeah,
favorites. Like seeing us take
yeah,
down Baker Mayfield, which I was like, oh my god. I mean,
yeah,
now if you told me we took down Baker Mayfield, it's a little different since he's
yeah.
shit in the bed
But
in the
Baker in
NFL.
college was a different
Yeah,
different
dude
animal.
was
You
raw.
take him down in college, you're like, oh man,
That and
you
then
just did something.
taking down Tebow.
Mm,
I mean, one of my favorite games will always be the kick six. I
yeah,
mean, that's probably the best moment in college football. Like, it's hard to beat that. That shit was insane.
yeah. I think personally, like my favorite game that like I've been to was Georgia LSU 2013. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
44-41.
Yep.
But the talent on that field, like when
Oh
I
my
didn't really
god.
realize it
But now
then when
you
I
do.
went to the game, but now I'm like, man, I watched Todd Gurley, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, Aaron Murray, Zach Mettenberger, Jeremy Hill, like all those guys were on the field. I think like Deion Jones, like
Mm-hmm.
there's so much talent on that field. And at the time I was like, oh man, like Georgia just took down LSU, like great game. But now I'm like, I basically just watched the NFL game.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that there's always going to be games like that, and I think you're going to end up seeing more and more, especially with how like stacked the SEC is becoming.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Is there anything else you want to say about the Bama Tennessee game?
All I can say is November 5th, man.
I think it's the
That's gonna
12th.
be a wild one.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
Georgia.
yeah.
Oh, Georgia,
Yeah,
Tennessee.
yeah. Georgia,
Oh,
Tennessee. That
Georgia,
that game is
Tennessee.
gonna
Yeah,
that game is gonna be absolutely wild.
yeah.
And
Go ahead.
That that I mean, we obviously know that game is more than likely is going to determine the East, but just in terms of just great football, it's going to be two different styles. I mean, Tennessee's high flying offense, and I think the key to that game will be how much can Tennessee's defense slow down Georgia's offense?
Hmm.
Because I think Tennessee's offense versus Georgia's defense is like a push.
Yeah.
Like both great. We know Tennessee's going to make plays. Georgia's not going to absolutely shut them down. But can Tennessee's defense get enough stops on Georgia's offense to, you
Yeah.
know,
And I'd say
get some possessions?
the other biggest thing for that is if Jalen Carter is healthy. If Jalen Carter is
Yes.
healthy, I don't think Tennessee touches Georgia, which we'll do an
Mm,
Ajax cast on that if you want to see our predictions on it. But my biggest thing is, so defenses really thrive around a vocal leader. You have
mm,
Nolan Smith who's in on one package, and then you have Jalen Carter who comes in on the opposite package. When
yeah.
Nolan Smith is not on the field and Jalen Carter is hurt and not in the game, you don't have that vocal leader. Yeah, you have some
Mhm.
stud guys, but you don't have like a guy out there basically calling out what the offensive play is or
Yeah.
what they think it is or getting people in the right spot or someone to really rally behind.
Yeah. And
Um,
I would say that was one thing that was rare about Kobe Dean because
mhm.
he was both.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he was the vocal
Oh, you froze. Let's see.
leader.
Yep, you're good now.
Okay. Yeah, Kobe Dean was just so special. He was the vocal leader and the play caller on the defense,
Yeah, and
And
leading
I know
tackler
that's
too.
supposed to be the middle linebacker. Yeah, and the leading tackler and the buckets were winner, but
Yeah.
but like it's really rare for like I know the middle that's supposed to be the middle linebacker's job, but like
Hmm.
also to be the vocal leader of the defense because
Yeah.
that could be the cornerback, the defensive end, outside linebacker. That could pretty much be anybody on defense. The fact that he took over like both of those jobs on the best defense in the country and one of the best defenses of all time with other stars just as good as him on the team,
Hmm.
that's wild.
Yeah. 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 But thank you guys for tuning in. We've been loving doing these Ajax casts. We've been loving all the support you guys have been giving us as of late. If you haven't already, check us out on Spotify. If you need to take us on the go, don't want to see our beautiful faces, you can check us out there. Check out all of our other social media and let us know what you guys want us to talk about. We're definitely going to be doing a pre-show for the Georgia Tennessee game, and we got new stuff coming up for House of the Dragon and maybe a few other shows and some surprises. So stay tuned. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.
See ya.